Hello and welcome to Sci-Fi Night LIGHT, where I talk about random topics that somehow relate to sci-fi and horror. So, it's finally October, and you know what that means.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock.
It's time for costumes, candy, and movies that scare the crap out of us. But why? Why do so many of us gravitate towards horror movies, and why do we actually enjoy being scared and frightened? After all, fear is generally something negative. We don't want our kids to be scared. If we have a phobia for snakes, then we tend not to be around snakes in real life.
I hate snakes, Chuck! I hate them!
And that's what this episode is about, and the answer might be a little bit more deeper rooted and scientific than you think.
Surprise, motherfucker!
The first and most obvious answer is, it's not real.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
I mean, we know that Freddy Krueger doesn't actually exist and that he won't kill us in our sleep, and this barrier between fiction and reality is a comforting one. The 2004 paper in the Journal of Media Psychology by Dr. Glenn Walters references an interesting study displaying this, in which a group of students who enjoyed violent and bloody horror films were shown several documentaries involving, amongst other things, a cow being slaughtered, a child undergoing facial surgery, and so on. 90% of the students turned the videos off, despite often seeing much more violent and gruesome horror for entertainment. Clark Macaulay of Oxford University said the following about the findings of the study. The fictional nature of horror films affords viewers a sense of control by placing psychological distance between them and the violent acts they have witnessed. This, of course, makes sense. I mean, knowing that the boogeyman isn't real and just a really shitty movie is definitely comforting. But that's not the sole reason for us wanting to watch horror. That explains why we don't get truly terrified in real life. What is it about horror that makes us so interested and draws us in? Glenn Sparks, professor of communication at Purdue University, argues that getting through the scares of a film fills us with a sense of confidence, like we're overcoming an obstacle along with the protagonist, and when it's all over, the relief gives us a sense of satisfaction. Sparks says the following: some people may feel better after successfully confronting any fears that might be depicted in these movies. It may help to convince them that if those fearful situations occurred in real life, they might be able to deal with it. Oh, and watching it with a friend or loved one might actually give you both a sense of bonding as you've experienced those scares together. In a recent UK study published by the Royal Society of Open Science, a group of people were shown two films, one more intense, described as emotionally arousing, the other much more laid back and chill. Both pain threshold and sense of bonding increased in the group after watching the distressing film. Sparks had this to say about the study. If people are with their friends and having fun after the movie, the arousal induced by the film can intensify the fun so much that people associate positive feelings with going to a horror film. In addition to this, we're kind of wired to test ourselves and our nerves. It's actually genetic. Dr. Mathias Claassen of Aarhus University in Denmark wrote a thesis on horror and argued that our affinity for the genre stems from a deeply rooted need for frightening stimuli. He says that our ancestors would often prepare for attack by training their reactions to stress as a coping mechanism. He says the following: they had to train their reactions to stressful situations, and the desire to do so became stored in their DNA, which we still carry today. When we watch a horror movie, we're satisfying that desire. We're training our danger preparedness. So again, all of this kind of makes sense. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to everyone, but it gives a generally good picture of why we have this desire to be scared by horror films. Our integral need for stimuli to test ourselves, combined with knowledge that this isn't real and the adrenaline we feel throughout, conquering something scary along with a friend, and coming closer after the experience. The excitement of these situations is something very strong. It's a sensation that grips us, fills us with excitement and energy, and rewards us afterwards. There's a reason so many people are so passionate about horror films. They strike us at a deep level and evoke something very powerful within, something powerful enough to celebrate, which is exactly what we're doing all October here on Sci-Fi Night. So that about does it for this episode of Sci-Fi Night LIGHT. We hope you enjoyed it. And what are your thoughts on it? Why is it you love horror? Let us know in the comments below. We hope you enjoyed this first 2017 Halloween installment here at Sci-Fi Night, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Happy, happy Halloween, 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 happy, happy Halloween, silver shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween.
You got me running, going.
Compliments of Mr. Pacino.
What?
You got me thinking that
This is insane, man!